Shadowheart found your peace in a country farmstead with a pack of pets and a garden of night orchids. You were basking beneath the silver moon after a midnight swim one night when you notice a letter among your discarded clothes. An invitation to a gathering of the friends and allies who stood by your side in the fight against the Absolute. You waste no time in packing and set off on the long road back to where all of your adventures together began.
Thou wert called here, some from above, some below. For with thine bond, together thou hast kept the wheel of fate spinning when it threatened to halt. Though thou wert drawn far apart in the months after the collapse of the Absolute, tonight fate renews thy bond once more. Thou shouldst take care to preserve it. It is a great weapon wielded in the hand of good. Go. Know one another once more.
Now there's a face I
didn't expect to be nervous, but seeing everyone here like this, it's strange, isn't it? I feel like I must have dreamed the last few months. Now I'm waking up back in camp with my hair smelling like wood smoke and fallen leaves stuck to my backside.
I can pinch you if you're afraid this isn't real.
Save it for when we're alone. Anyway, I know it's real. I know we made it. I just wish I could go back in time and reassure the old me that it would all work out. But enough introspection. This is a party. I hope we won't seem terribly boring to everyone when they ask what we've been doing this past while. A cottage in the countryside. They may have been expecting something more. Well, more.
With all the animals you've adopted, you've plenty to talk about.
What's the current count again? 4 dogs, 8 cats, 9 chickens, 6 pigeons, 4 sheep, Daphne the milk cow, that odd little squirrel that keeps jumping on my shoulder, and Buttons, of course.
You should talk about Buttons. They'll be surprised to hear you of all people took in a stray wolf.
So am I at times. But he's just a helpless pup. I don't think it was a coincidence when I found him in the woods. Far from it. It's fine. Already passed. Shah must have sensed I was enjoying myself.
They seem less frequent. Do you think she might be losing interest?
Perhaps. I won't get my hopes up just yet, but in truth it doesn't matter. Her plan failed. I'm happy. I mean, how could I not be? I have you. But enough about Shah and her petty barbs. We're here to see old friends and enjoy ourselves. So let's do just that. feel better already.
I'll go take a look around. Be back soon.
Have fun. Just don't wear yourself out too quickly. I'm anticipating a long night ahead of us.
A familiar sight. Scratch can't quite speak around the thing he has in his mouth.
What have you got this time, Scratch?
I found this. It smelled like you, so I kept it. Seemed like something you might like to throw?
I'd be happy to, but first, how have you been?
Oh, I've been so good. I've got a nice home in the city now. A girl named Mindy says I'm her best friend. She's mine too. Also you and Albert. I've got so many best friends, I hardly know who to play with.
I'm so glad to hear you've fared well since our travels together.
I certainly have, and I always will. Forever, I think. And so will you.
This is the astral prism. I'm not sure we should be playing with it.
You know best, but a little fetch never hurt anyone, as far as I know.
I fear I am becoming accustomed to the taste of sun-fed plants.
Hells yes! You're here!
Hello, darling. I wasn't sure our withered old friend could live up to his promise. But here we are. And you're looking more delicious than ever, if you don't mind me saying. Whatever you've been doing with your time, it clearly worked wonders.
You can thank Shadowheart for that. Being with her has been a blessing.
Love is a powerful tonic. And where better to celebrate our good fortune? An old haunt with old friends.
The last time I saw you, you were running from the sun. What happened?
Exactly what I feared. Without the protection of our little friends, I was just an ordinary spawn again. Burning in the sun. I fled the dock and found refuge in the shadows until night fell. I'm sorry I didn't seek you out that night. I felt ashamed. Like I'd lost everything just as you claimed your victory. I didn't want you to see me like that. But time lent perspective. It wasn't your victory, it was ours. And for all I'd lost, I gained so much more. I had freedom, strength, a whole new life. And it was time to live it. I've taken a turn as an adventurer and hero. It turns out no one actually cares about murder as long as you murder the right people. And apparently I'm rather good at it.
I could have told you that.
Yes, but you say all sorts of things. Honestly, I don't even listen half the time. It has made for a nice change, though. Inspiring hope in people instead of terror. Well, I do try to inspire a little terror. I'm still me, after all.
Do you ever miss walking in the sun?
I did at first. But then I realized, these shadows, this darkness, it's all a part of me. I spent too long defined by what other people did to me, the choices other people made for me. But that's over now. This is who I am, in all my glory, for better and for worse.
I'm glad to hear it. Acceptance looks good on you.
That being said, I haven't completely given up on returning to the sun. If the opportunity presented itself, well, I wouldn't say no. But until then, I am happy. We've had quite the journey, you and I. From the moment I first threatened you, I knew you were someone special. Someone to take on the world with. I will miss our time together. But then again, maybe this isn't goodbye, so much as it's, see you later, darling.
Bread of food, for one comprising mostly of bone. Perhaps he wishes to live vicariously.
Old friend. For 2 months I trained the Knights of the Comet. For 2 more I skewered Kithraki bellies. And for 2 more yet, I traveled through Limbo. But to see your face, it brings me even more pleasure than taking a Royal Inquisitor's head.
Your efforts to topple Vlaakith are well underway then?
We've spilled blood, gained a foothold in the Astral, but still we need allies. And one beyond reckoning has made itself known. Zareth Minyaragith.
Zareth Minyaragith? What is that?
Not a what, but a who. The immortal god king of the Githzerai. An exiled people. Once kin with mine, until the madness of civil war ripped our one sky into 2. Our Gish sent word of the rebellion to Minyaragith through the cosmos. He's agreed to parley. It's fallen to me to secure an alliance.
Hold on. The great warrior Lae'zel on a diplomatic mission?
Exactly the reaction I expected. My blade is keen as ever. But it was you who showed me that a proper victory doesn't always require a razor-sharp edge. Sometimes, a sincere plea is more persuasive than a dagger against the neck. Minyaragith is an ascetic. He reached out in good faith. This is his way. It is in this spirit that I must meet him. And if he refuses, I carry on. Gravity pulls me in but one direction. I am a warrior of the Comet. I will not rest until I burn Vlaakith's bones to ash and smash her phylactery to pieces. My people will be free. But you've heard that refrain before. Zealous, bossy, insistent. All part and parcel of my undeniable charm.
A shame you couldn't be with us in person. It's like talking to a ghost.
I suppose it is, rather. I'm just glad to be here at all. It's taken a dozen Gish's talents, a few stolen psi crystals, and 2 10 days of effort to conjure my projection. Worth it, I'd say. I miss this place. This... Fey Run. More to the point, I missed you. But I'll be back to see you again when the comet has risen. As surely as Kalir will forever circle the sun.
What has become of the egg, Lae'zel? Has it hatched?
So it has. And a fine man the hatchling will be. I call him Zahn. Freedom. He is with the mages of Zambardim. I trust his care to no one else. Zahn's destiny will be his own to follow. Warrior, poet, explorer, scholar. His way will be the way of the comet. No chains to bind us, no lies to bury us. Liberty will be the rallying cry that unites our empire.
Ah, there you are. Well, well. Look what the Tressim dragged in. Professor Gale Decarius of Blackstaff Academy. Educator of the esteemed School of Illusion. A pleasure to remake your acquaintance. Well, that was quite lovely. I'm glad you're as pleased to see me as I am you. I have to say, I'm quite grateful to just be Gale for the evening. I fear my students find me somewhat intimidating due to my, explosive former reputation. I seem to put the fear of the gods into them. Or the fear of Mistra, to be more specific. I surrendered the crown of Carsus to her, as I told you I would. And in return, she cured me of the orb at last. Even now, I struggle to put the feelings into words. It was like exhaling for the first time after holding my breath for so very long. Of course, I haven't clarified with my students that the orb is no longer a threat. The legend of my explosive capabilities is an excellent means of controlling a classroom. Too good, if anything. I spend most of my time trying to convince them how much fun the study of magic can be. But it'd be easier to crack a smile on an intellect devourer than some of my pupils.
Go on then, convince me. Why is illusory magic so much fun?
Illusory magic has the power to confound the senses, to render the impossible into reality, and to allow expression of that most magical attribute of all: imagination. Had you the decades to spare, I think you'd prove quite adept at it, as you did in that first lesson I taught you. It was at that moment, the weave connecting us, that I realized how much your friendship had come to mean to me, as it still does. Teaching you was hardly an effort at all, not like my present cohort of apprentices. Oh, they try their best, of course, and they can manage to stay awake.
The cheek of them! Nothing a well-placed swipe from Tara can't fix, though.
And what of you? What are you making of this newfound lease of life we earned?
I found new purpose in my faith. There is much to be done, and I know now that prayer alone is not enough to save the world.
From you, I'd expect nothing less. I've told my students plenty of tales about our escapades. You're something of a hero to them, you know? I'll be delighted to introduce you to my current cohort as a guest lecturer, perhaps. I'm sure they'd have plenty of questions for you.
Of course. What wizard wouldn't benefit from the wisdom my god has to offer?
Well, I, for one, can't wait. And I say with some confidence, neither can they. Of course, you'll be most welcome to stay with me in my tower. My apologies, Tara. That would be our tower. It will give us plenty of time to catch up on your adventures. I'm very curious to know what you've been up to these past months. But I suspect the telling of that tale would keep you tied to me all evening. So, in the spirit of selflessness, I encourage you to mix and mingle for now, with time enough to come.
Oh, right. You. Hello.
Gale's friend Tara, right? It's good to see you again.
Yes, I'm certain it is. As for you, well, I've heard congratulations are in order. You helped Mr. Dicarios save Baldur's Gate from the Absolute, isn't that right?
Actually, Gale helped me.
That doesn't sound like him. But whichever way you want to remember it, well done, I suppose. You ought to come visit myself and Gale when you're able, if you can extract yourself from what I'm sure are very important responsibilities.
I'd quite like that. Thanks for the invitation.
We'll send word by pigeon when we've need of you. I used to have a taste for them, but a great many things have changed in recent months. Ta-ta, darling.
Ah, my dear friend, it's been an age, has it not? You're looking very well indeed. Our skeletal friend will be very pleased to see I found my way here, despite my invitation getting lost in the post.
It's wonderful to see you, Volo. How have you been?
Busy as ever. Better that than the reverse, wouldn't you say? Every major publishing house on the Sword Coast has been vying for my upcoming book on the subject of our adventures together. I've gotten quite good at replicating your signature, so you needn't even bother with the release form. You might help me with the title, though. I'm considering The Hero and Me. What do you think?
The Hero and I, no?
I, me, it's all Volo as far as I'm concerned. Perhaps, once the manuscript is finished, you'd even be willing to write a foreword? Or better yet, I'll write a draft and you can just sign your name. Better still, I'll sign it for you. Hmm? Ah, your success really has been wonderful for my reputation. But you mustn't let me hog your attention all night, my friend. You've many friends to chat to, and I'd love to listen in.
Other reunions to which I was not invited.
You would think someone of my vintage would be inured to the passage of time. Yet these past 6 months have seemed endless without your company. But now, our paths cross once more.
Let me guess. Just as nature intended?
Just as I hoped they would, more like. The Oak Father has been kind to me this past while. Yet I cannot forget the bond we all forged together. It is one that can weather any distance, any passage of time. I know it can, for I feel the longing for old friends in my heart each day.
You sound like you need a hug.
I always do. Should I ever decline, assume a doppelganger has taken my place. That was more than worth the wait.
You can say that again.
That was more than worth the wait? Oh, I suppose you didn't mean that literally. Now, we have much to catch up on. Do not allow me to ramble on. I am eager to hear all you've been doing.
You first, Halson. I want to hear about the life you've made, the people you've helped.
In that case, very well. Our community grows rapidly. In 6 months, we have turned what was once a shadowy wasteland into a true home for all. In another 6 months, I would wager the scars of the past will be entirely invisible, even to those who remember them. The old masonry of Moonrise Towers and Rythwin have been repurposed into new homes, and the land is rich with harvests and bountiful trees. Nature and civilization are in harmony, stronger together.
Is this the balance you wished for?
In a manner of speaking, yes. Though it is a more complex, evolving beast than I could ever have anticipated. True balance is no simple, fixed thing. I see that now. We welcome folk from all walks of life. Anyone who wishes for a new start. Naturally, it can be chaotic at times, but it is a thrilling sort of chaos. It thrives in ways I could never have dreamed of.
I'll need to see this place for myself.
You are welcome whenever you like, and for however long you please. Now, please, tell me all, and spare no details. I shall not lie. I have an ulterior motive in wishing to hear all. It is the children, you see. My charges. Their appetite for bedtime tales is greater than I could ever have anticipated. Another story, Daddy Halsin. Another is the chorus that greets me each nightfall. They have all but exhausted my repertoire in but a few short months. No mean feat given the lifetime I have lived. I desperately need new material, please. My reputation is at stake.
Had I known bedtime tales were a possibility, I'd have sought you out at camp.
You would ask to be tucked in next. But whatever the intrepid adventurer needed, I would have been glad to provide.
I expect you'll have a few tales that will need to wait until they are older.
More than a few, I should think. At least I shall be equipped to explain the birds and the bees when the time comes. But I hope that time is quite a while off yet.
All right, let me see what I have.
I am all ears. Though I never cared for that phrase. A rather unsettling image. You have kept yourself busy. I expected no less, in truth. I shall be able to keep the children enthralled for a few more nights yet, thanks to you. And should you wish to retell of your exploits in person, well, I shall not object to a night off. Now, it would be cruel of me to hoard you all to myself for the evening, as much as I would like to. I shall leave you to the others for now, unless there was anything else.
Tell me about Thaniel and Oliver. Do you see much of them?
Quite often. They come and go as they please, but with so many playmates to avail of, they are far from strangers. They ask after you often. What you did for them will never be forgotten. I can see it in the land all around me. But more importantly, I see it in their faces whenever they visit. To make a child smile is to dabble with the power of gods, as far as I'm concerned.
Still partial to roaming in bear form, I take it?
I spend half my days in ursine form. The children demand it. I had a score of them taking turns riding upon my back just days ago. I'm glad they are so comfortable with the Oakfather's creations. But they must learn that not all are as amiable as I am. A lesson for another time, though. They deserve some joy. As for roaming, that impulse has dwindled, I must admit. Perhaps because I have found where I am meant to be.
You seem more settled than I expected of you. I thought that was against your nature.
As did I, but somehow I feel like I no longer need to roam. That I have found something worthy laying roots for. Amazing what can be discovered about oneself, even at a ripe old age.
What of the Grove? Do you stay in touch?
On occasion, but I prefer not to interfere. Francesca of the High Forest is Archdruid now, and by all accounts, she has proven to be a steady and wise influence. Even Korga may yet find true balance, thanks to her influence. Before you go, I have something for you. Just a little keepsake, really. Do you remember how I told you I like to whittle? I made this. Ducks are my favorite, but I thought they were particularly fitting in this case. They are migratory birds, of course, traveling far and wide with the turn of the seasons. Yet, they always find their way back to where they belong. Just like old friends find themselves back in each other's company.
It's lovely. Thank you.
Just a token to remember me by. Now, I've taken up enough of your time. Go on. Enjoy the festivities. We can speak again later.
So, here we are. A gathering of allies at a cold campsite with no servants to attend us and few luxuries to enjoy. Ah, we could have been conquerors. We could have ruled these realms as gods. Do you ever regret that we did not take control of the Netherbrain?
You of all people should be glad the Absolute is no more. It nearly destroyed you.
True. But what better revenge could there be than enslaving the abomination that was the author of my torment? I shall not dwell on the past, though. The future is unwritten and rich with possibilities.
And what mark have you been making, Minthara?
I feared that returning to the Underdark as an apostate of Lolth would be an act of madness. Perhaps it was. If so, it is a madness that fits me well. Rebels swarm to my cause, and even if it takes centuries, I will reclaim my house in Menzoberranzan. And make the Spider Queen bleed. Oh, I would kill for a glass of Ulava wine.
There you are. I was hoping you'd make your way.
Breathe deep, Boo! The smell of heroes sings from every stone in this place. To meet again where your journey began, my friend. An honor. For Minsk and his hamster both. Oh, and for Happy also.
Yes. Honored, of course.
Withers didn't say we could bring guests.
He is not a guest, but your newest follower. It is just this day that Happy learned of your legend, while we gazed down upon the very city you saved.
He dangled me from the high hall, upside down, for 2 hours.
The guild should not go creeping in high places if they do not have the stomach for them, hmm? It is well for Happy the strange portal appeared when it did. Minsk's arm was growing aexum.
You're still chasing after the guild? I thought you'd made your peace with them.
So I have. Though it is a peace made more from blade and boot than it is any sense of brotherhood. 9 Fingers forbade any looting of the Illithid's fleshy vessels. And so Minsk guards what remains of the battle site. Even from her. But where Minsk might once have thrown any sneaking scoundrels from the tower top, now I tell them of you. How you ruled the wickedness within. How they might do the same.
Yes, I'll rule it. I'll be better.
Oh, of course. It is still for Boo to decide if they live or die.
Oh, gods.
But enough, my friend! I cannot tell your tale if I do not know the whole of it. Minsk and Boo would know where you have been, what you have done.
Just living my life. Now I've found someone to live it with.
Aha, the lovebirds still nest together then? Minsk is glad. For what is life without a companion? Though I am thinking yours does not sit on your shoulders, eh? Ah, you are right, Boo. That is, none of Minsk's business. Now, Halfling, Boo will not have you embarrassing him in front of his friends. So you ought to know the rest of the company you keep. Will Ravengard, the Blade of Frontiers, Devil-Horned and Angel-Hearted. Lae'zel of Creshkiller, true child of Gith, and true friend to Boo. Though she will and say it is not so. Astarion, who is banished by the sun itself for fear his Spanish soul might outshine it. We visit him much down in the dark places, though he often moves his lair without remembering to tell Minsk where. Gale, the man who would be a god, but then thought better of it. Boo thinks better of him for it too. Shadowheart, 2 gods dogged at her soul, but she managed to keep it all for herself in the end. Wait, Boo, did she do something with her hair? Halsin, Archdruid of Arch somewhere. He is a much better man than he smells. And there, the champion of the Hells herself. Karlach Demon's Bane, Devil's Bane, Merkle Ball and Bane. Once the guild is made of goodness once more, Bull shall scratch the hells wide open and find a way to bring her back. And finally, Jahira. If this is a name you do not already know, then not even Boo can save you. Study them well, sneak thief, for the best among them will be a guide for your guild. Heroes who put the city before themselves, who never falter in their duty. And more than this, who never arrive to a party without even a gift for the host.
But wait!
Go, my friend. Be among our friends. There is much work yet to be done before this one is fit to join them.
He's going to kill me, isn't he? Not the big mad bastard. The hamster.
Well now, you can make yourself presentable when you have a mind to.
I missed you too, Jahira.
How nice to be understood again. I have spent the past months bickering with builders and bankers, all to restore the city exactly as it was. Same twisting alleys for purse pickers, same wooden buildings ready to get burnt by next year's dragon, same cisterns overflowing, huh?
It's a kip, but it's our kip. I wouldn't change a thing.
Baldurians simply get on with it. Stubbornness, civic spirit, plain stupidity. Perhaps all three, but nothing I will sniff at any longer. Harpers have come from half the world over to lend aid. Farmers, masons, healers. My own son, Jord, has been wooed to their ranks. Already he plans crop cycles in Worm's Crossing. Not so for my daughter. Ryan's rejoined the Flaming Fist. Temporarily, you understand. To organize the craftsmen. Though she spends more time locking up comrades for pocketing aid funds. They might learn a thing or two, if they don't expel her. Again.
All well and good, but what about you? I want to hear what you've been up to.
Honestly, much more sitting down than I'd like. Mistake me not. There is still much to be done. Plans to make, maps to be frowned over. But my children are more than capable of doing it. Even the young ones tire of me peeking over their shoulders. This night offers them a brief respite from me, at least. And this place, now I look at it, it is where you all spent your first night together, no? A fine spot for an adventure to begin. A fine spot indeed.
Do you have an adventure in mind?
Just a little wander, perhaps, to stretch the legs. I'll find my way back, as I always do. I admit defeat. Baldur's Gate is my home. But that is the thing about home. The only way to see it clearly is to leave and look back. For a little while, at least. For all your travels, I hope you have arrived where you want to be. Home. Whatever that means to you.
My home is with Shadowheart.
Ah, sentiment. With the greatest affection, I can think of better ways to sour our stomachs. I must inspect the refreshments. You'll never know. Some ne'er-do-well might have tampered with the wine.
Friend? Friend! You came! Big brother Scratch, too! Happy.
You're a lot bigger than Scratch now.
Yes, big! But Scratch is smart, teaches me many things, like Big Brother.
I'm glad Withers brought you here.
Withers? No. You smell very delicious. Follow smell, find you.
What have you been doing since last we met?
Lots. Make friends with a turtle, a cat, a kraken. Kraken eats my cat friend, so I bite, kill. With shiny clothes, I am strong. Tired now. Want sleep. Want cave.
It sounds like you need someone to look after you. How about with me and Shadowheart?
Nice lady. She gives pets and tasty things. I like her. I go to her.
There you are, my friend. Breathe deep. Can you smell it?
You take in every scent the night breeze carries. Sweet honeysuckle, tender violets, and an earthy fragrance you can't quite recognize.
I smell fragrant flowers and a mysterious accent I can't quite place.
Forest trees draped in moss. Bittersweet, smoky, and that faintest hint of vanilla. A far cry from the rancid Avernus heat that's been clogging my lungs. I swear, Karlach and I have felled enough cambions to build a fortress with their horns. Who'd have thought that just one of those fiends held the key to escaping Avernus for good? One of them sported a map and some blueprints. If you want all the gory details, Karlach can fill you in.
How have you been faring without your warlock powers?
I think the splinters I made out of the last bone devil I saw speak for themselves. Not to pat myself too hard on the back, but I'm not such a bad ranger if I do say so myself.
Have you had any time to visit your father?
I've seen him more than a few times, and he's as proud of me as I am of him. He's leading the city's renewal, opened the gates to all newcomers, rebuilt the council from scratch. And he's back in his element, commanding the Flaming Fist with brave heart and no shortage of empathy. The likes of Gortash can bend people's minds with a few chosen words. No tadpole needed. Bane's Chosen primed the Fist for a war they weren't meant to win. He convinced them there was an assassin hiding in every shadow, that cruelty was the correct answer to crisis. With a few exceptions, fathers pardoned every last fist. If my forgiveness not be Tyr's will, so be it. I shall forgive them all the same. His words, not mine. He still believes in the bow and the blade, but with Floric's help, he's teaching the fist a new lesson. Valor is found not in the wounds you inflict, but in the lives that you have bettered. May they all take it to heart.
I've missed traveling with you. You were a pleasure to be around.
I've missed you too. The rush of battles we fought, the heart-to-hearts, the nights around the fire, the comfort of knowing I didn't face the unknown alone. If I had to do it all over again, and I'd rather not, to be clear, I can't imagine not having you at my side. Well, that's enough hell talk for the moment. The night's young. You shouldn't go wasting it. Or wasting any of the wine for that matter. I plan on downing half a bottle myself. Oh, did I say half a bottle? I meant half a dozen. Polish up the horns.
Oh, hello. Let me guess, you've got some suggestions about the music choice.
The music's fine, uninvited guest or not. Who are you?
You have no idea who I am, do you? I thought Withers might have set the stage a little.
How do you know Withers?
I owe him a favor, one he is eternally invoking. I thought honoring the worthy was a fair price to pay for Withers to pull me out of the fugue plane. Alas, one purgatory to another.
What were you doing in the fugue plane?
Languishing in obscurity. Cyric knew what he was doing when he punished me for that song, the prick. Before I was banished to the fugue plane, I had song prayers coming out the proverbial ears. Guess how many I get now? None.
Musical prayers were once offered to Melil, Lord of Song, a minor deity whose worship faded after offending the trickster god Cyric.
I'm washed up, I'm afraid.
It's an honor to meet the noble Lord of Song, even if I'm no bard.
You know? You're bloody right! It is an honor! Finally! The scribe picks an adventurer of substance, of culture! What can I do you for?
Nothing. Please carry on as you were.
Fantastical news. Carry on I shall.
Oh, shit. Oh, my gods! He wasn't kidding. Withers, you mad bastard! You brought me back! Soldier. It's really you. I've missed you, man. Like, I've really missed you. And you're so clean.
I've missed you too.
I'd say so. Can't think of who's been carrying your pack now that Kay's out of commission. Man, we had some good times. Wish Will and I had more time to reminisce, but surviving Avernus is just non-stop. Still, having him there has been incredible. You really can get through anything with someone you love at your side. Oh, but hey, guess what we found? Cambion dropped a map with directions and blueprints for Zariel's own private forge. A fucking forge! Our current plan is to get in, grab a smith, and force him to fix old Rusty. Or maybe give me a brand new model that can live outside of Avernus. You haven't seen the last of old Karlak yet, soldier.
I'm so glad to hear you might be able to fix your heart. You must be so happy.
Trying not to count my owlbears before they've hatched. But the thought of coming back to Baldur's Gate keeps me going. Can I look you up when I'm out?
You had better, or I'll hunt you down myself.
Hey, that would be kind of fun, though. High stakes hide and seek. Honestly, I'd be curious to see if you could land a blow or two. Gods, is it good to see you again. To be here, together. Hard not to get used to it all over again. This won't be the last time. I promise.
14 apples. Enjoying yourself, I hope.
It's good to see everyone, yes.
I know. I'll have to stop myself from getting teary-eyed when it's time to say goodbye again. Let's make tonight count. The only regrets I want to hear about come morning should revolve around an excess of carousing and questionable dancing.
I have a confession to make. I may have volunteered us for something.
Oh, did you now? Come on then, out with it.
I might have said we'd take care of the owlbear.
You didn't. Of course he can come with us. I always regretted we didn't extend the offer after the battle. It was all such a blur. We'll have to find somewhere for him to sleep, of course. He'd get stuck in the door of the cottage. Maybe the barn? It's as warm as anywhere, as long as he gets along with Daphne.
I'm sure we could widen the door frame. Imagine being able to cuddle an owlbear on a cold night.
Well, now we're gonna have to do that, aren't we? You're a bad influence, you know. I can picture the look on my parents' faces already. Are you trying to make me sleepy? You know how easily I get lost in your arms.
This one night is like any other, and yet different. Thou art the savior of Baldur's Gate, until such time it requires saving again. How dost thou feel?
I feel satisfied. I accomplished everything I wanted to do.
I am pleased to hear it. The satisfaction of one's intention is, to my surprise, a rare accomplishment. Enjoy the revelry of the day. Thou deservest at least that much.
I think I've caught up with everyone. What comes next?
What indeed? Prick up thy ears and listen. The balance of the world restored. The balance of these lives, mortal and otherwise, brought to account. Hear me, thou heroes, wastrels, friends. I have waited long to tell you these words. It is over. For now. Thou played thy part in weaving the fabric of fate itself, but for every thread you sewed, so did the gods unravel another. Sleep, rest, revel, but be ready. For thou mayst yet be needed. Until we meet again, I wish thee every possible fortune, health, wealth, love, and above all, problems worth solving.
To the greatest friends I could dream of.
To you. There thou art, the dead three. Thy faces gods, thy actions barely worthy of the name. Didst truly believe thy ploy would succeed? Didst believe I would not notice? Thou soughtst to bolster thy strength by taking away the souls of mortals. But souls vanish when their hosts become mind flayers. Didst think the other gods would not notice? Gods thou may be, yet thou hast proven thyself fools, everyone. The supplication of Bane, the whimper of Baal, the death mule of Merkel, felled by mortals. I overestimated thee. They did not. Vermin, away. Thou wilt trouble us no more.